Right, the day's finally arrived. I've been planning this for months, really. Going to do all the brake shocks, rear shocks, all the suspension, bushes, heim-joint bearings, tow rod, bushes, and the control arm, upper and lower bushes, and upper and lower outer heim-joints. And I've taken a couple of days off work to make a real long weekend for this Labour weekend that we're about to have here in New Zealand, and they've just announced a storm that could threaten life. So last night, I knew it was coming. It looked like it was coming. So last night, I got it up on jacks, heaps of them, stands. There's 6 stands under here. Still got the jack blocks. God, they on it. And another stand there. And if it starts pouring down, I did this so that if it was raining this morning, I wouldn't need to be on my back doing that. I could just get straight into it. But luckily, it's not raining yet. If it does, I've got a tarpaulin I may try and tie up. But if I can get a lot of these parts off now, I'll just do one side at a time. And get most of these parts out of there. And at least I can work inside the garage then. I just don't have room inside the garage to work on the car, unfortunately. So I've got a few parts. Brake pads. These shocks I bought actually a few years ago. They are the only ones I had for this application. I think it was Suspension Tech. I did a test fit a year or so ago, and anyway, I then noticed they're not the right shocks. They do fit. No, that's right. I had to cut captured nuts off here. That's right. Yeah, I have. Yep, I cut these captured nuts off because they're straight through. God, I hope that's the right size bolt. It's all coming back to me now, and there is no provision for the brake line to clip in, so I've got to cut them off the old shocks and weld them on here somewhere. Must be off the side here or something. Anyway, I'll find that out soon enough. And I must admit, they were quite difficult to deal with. This one, though, Haken, who knows? They had everything I needed in the way of bushes and bearings and what have you. And such a bloody good service. I was having difficulty because I was measuring up the heim joints at a completely different measurement than what they had on the website for 2 different bearings they had, and the 2 bearings they had were slightly different measurements as well on their website. But anyway, they had the old ask me a question bot thing, and I thought, okay, I'll use one of these for the first time. And I actually got a real life guy on the other end who quickly asked me to send some photographs through WhatsApp, and he turned out to be a mechanic. He did his time in Ford and worked on these AUII Falcons during his time, so he knew exactly what he was talking about, and also found that there was a website problem, that it should have been just one size that was listed, not 2 sizes. So that was great. I managed to order everything through them. They got shipped from Melbourne, even though it's a Taranaki company from the looks of it. But they arrived in a few days, and totally recommend them. Can't remember the guy's name, or if he even gave me it. But if you need suspension parts, shocks, should have got the shocks from them. But all the bushes, bearings. And I'm sure they had them for every other vehicle as well, but I was only looking for these, obviously. Sweet. Okay, well, I'll get into it. I'm going to film as much as this I can. I see the wind is getting stronger, so I'll get into these, get into this and yeah, get a few parts off and go from there. Right, first of all, taking the caliper off and the disc rotor. So that's 215mm. Yeah, that one, and the one that the socket's on down there. Get them off. Alright, caliper off. Next it's this big Phillips, and I don't know what's behind here. We'll check that out. First time I've ever done this. Okay, that was just the adjuster for the handbrake. So next I'm going to do the toe arm. So I undo this, smash this with a hammer to break the taper, and then up in there there's looks like a 14mm bolt maybe or something. So we'll get that out. Leave the nut on there just in case you miss and smash the thread. Okay. Of course. Get back to you. Okay, here it goes. Sweet. Okay, first observations are everything's a weird size. This one's an 18mm, of course. An 18 and a 14. Okay, that's out. Didn't actually seem to be anything wrong with this bush, so I ain't going to replace it. I've got them there, but I'll just, well, I'll see how I go. But at this stage, I think I'll leave it. Right, next I'm going to get the shock out. And so that's from the inside to start with. Okay, yep. Get that out of the way. And then might do the bottom. So fold the seats back and peel this back. And then we go down to there. So what are they? They are 7, God knows, 17 something. Sorry for the terrible camera work. Okay, I'm just going to undo those. I might even try just cracking that top shock nut whilst it's in the vehicle too. Okay, just going to leave one on there. I can't get that nut that's spinning the piston, so in the shock. So I'll leave that one nut on there. Come down here, and it's a 21 and a 24mm. So I'll do those. Right, well, when I did my test fit, I obviously did the other side. They're both two different bloody applications. This one does have a captured nut on it. The other side didn't. So I cut them off the other two shocks. And this one doesn't have a clip, a hose clip, because it clips up there for the caliper. Nowhere on the shock. Whereas the other side I'm pretty sure did. Well, I'll soon find out again, but oh god. So yeah, okay, I've got to now cut. Well, hopefully find the other. Hopefully I kept the nut I cut off, otherwise I'm cutting this one off here and welding it back onto the new one. Outstanding. Alright, next I'm going to do the sway bar link. Get that off because that's attached to the lower control arm here. So undo that. I think that's 17 or something. Okay, and then I'm going to go for these rear inner control arm bolts. All right. Okay, things got pretty hectic yesterday with the removal of all these parts. I was kind of racing the weather, trying to get it all out because the weather forecast said it was coming in hard, but got away with it pretty well here. But anyway, so yeah, and then I found with all my plans, the bolts that go through there and there were the tightest bolts I think I've ever encountered in my life. They're meant to be 225 Newton meters. I couldn't break them with my biggest breaker bar, which is, I think it's about 20 inches or something, half-inch bar. Then I went and borrowed a pneumatic rattle gun from a mate down the road at the tyre shop, and that wasn't enough to even move them. So I raced back down and he lent me a 3/4 inch Milwaukee battery one, and yeah, that smashed them out. And of course there goes the dog, next door neighbour's dog howling. Does that now and then. Anyway, so I didn't film any of that because I was not in the right. I was on a mission then. I was full headspace, get this thing to pieces. So it's all apart. Oh no, it's not actually. The upper, God, this is ridiculous. Yeah, the upper. Oh, woo! That's right. The upper controller arm here, I can't get out yet because the bolt on that end comes up against the fuel lines when I try to take it out. And I got that one out. Yeah, so no, I need to worry about that later, but that is a later. So I don't know if this, I'll just add this probably into the whole video, this, and then I'm doing installation. I mean, this is why I'm doing it. That's not meant to be that. That's meant to be nice and tight. So I already did this one yesterday just as a test. Press that in, press the old one out, put that one in. All the videos on YouTube that I've seen, not one of them tells you how to do it with a cheap. So this is in New Zealand. So I got this from Repco or Super Cheap Autos, but call it Harbour Freight or whatever. It's $100. I think I got that on sale for $100. Everyone else is using they leave it in the vehicle and use a like a C-clamp design press bush installation tool. And it's certainly a damn sight quicker because you're not taking it all apart. But I did take this apart thinking I might replace all of these bushes, but these ones are good, so I'm going to leave them and just keep the new ones for later. So like I say, this video is not for a mechanic. This is you at home shown you how to do it with, again, cheap. If you needed to do it, get a cheap tool from your local parts shop. So what you want to do, okay, I ordered these parts. It states, well, first of all, I downloaded the manual, and it tells you how to do everything basically, but then it gets to, if replacement of the bushes is required, it is strongly recommended to take it to a specialist, as specific removal, installation and support tools are required to prevent damages to the control arm and the bush when pressing bush from arm. Okay, we're not doing that. We're doing it at home. So what you want to do when you get one of these presses is just keep an eye out, and get a bunch of, just anytime you find something that could be used as something to press things in and out, just put them aside and get a collection of them. There's all different sizes. Sockets for that upper arm, I used this Hooring Great 44mm socket to press the below the arm in the press, so that the bush could sit inside it if it, to go through. And I ended up grinding this one down to insert the new bush. I used this one to press it in half in, but so it almost is the right size. But then, because the new ones come with obviously a good rubber seal, I didn't want to damage it going in there, so I will show you how I take this rubber seal off so that it's not going to get damaged whilst working on it, and then you can install it last thing once it's all together. Okay, so I'll set this camera up and take you through it. But what we're going to do basically is, confirm we've got the right parts to start with, because, okay, this is an AUII Falcon I'm working on, but this states it's for a BABF Falcon. So, never worked on a BABF, but I'm guessing obviously they're all the same, but we will soon find out. And so you want to take some measurements across here, make sure it's the same length, work out if this is tapered at all. It could be tapered, so it needs to go in the correct way first, and you'll also find that there is a collar probably on the other side, but we'll work that out very soon, you'll see. Okay, I'll just set you up. Okay, that took about a year to get set up. Okay, again, if you're a mechanic or know what the hell you're up to, just watch this video for entertainment purposes. I'm just showing people, with a bit of time, patience, measuring, work it all out. Don't rip into something and damage stuff, rip shit and bust. You can do this sort of thing at home with a bit of knowledge. Like they say, a bit of knowledge is dangerous, but it's certainly doable with some tools, basic tools and stuff. Okay, so what you want to do, again, like I say, you want to work out what way it's going to go in, and that's by, I measure this side, and that's 42mm. Oh, straight away, okay. And this side is 52mm, so it's 10mm difference. So there's a collar at this end, so it's got to go in this way, and you've got to press it out this way. Otherwise, you're going to smash this end of the boss. So what I do, I just put a bit of tape on there once I've quickly worked it out. so you don't have to keep guessing yourself or checking it. So it is out, and then I'll change it once we're going in. I don't know, it's probably early onset dementia or something, but yeah, I like to do that sort of thing. All right, so we've measured that up. Okay, so this measurement is going to be obviously the true measurement of the bush, so that is hopefully exactly the same as this. Yeah, there's a nat stick in that. That's going to be a press fit because that's like literally an angel's pube wider than this, and then we want to make sure it's the right length. How's this? No, going up the back. Okay, and yep, and that's the same. No, I don't even. Yeah, okay, we're in. All right, so next we need to find a socket or a tool that is the. Oh, I think I need to zoom this out. Hang on. Okay, next you want to work out what attachments. I use sockets, like I say, to use to press it out and press it in, because it's going to be two different sizes again. Like I say, this end here is 42 millimeters, so you need a close to 42, no bigger than 42, to press it out. I mean, being the old bush, you could, well, they're called heim-joints, you could probably press it on the inner, but you certainly don't want to press it in using the inner part of the bearing. You want to definitely use the outer part of the bearing to press it. So 42 mil, and here's one I found just before, which is a 1.25 inch SP, and that's exactly the right size. So we're going to press it out with that, and then 52 mil was the one on this end. It's actually just a little bit under 52, so we'll hopefully this one will work. It's a King Tony 36 mil. Yeah, what's that for? Falcon front hubs. Okay, so we've established those, and we need something to go and for it to go inside, and that's not going to work. Okay, and that one will. Okay, so that's, again, I just picked that up from a scrap bin somewhere, and it will be perfect to go underneath there to press. All right, that's us. We'll now set up the press. Set this up in the press. First thing I actually do is just give it a bit of a wake up there, just to de-stress the metal, I suppose. It may help, it may not, but hey, give yourself every chance. Okay, I had to come out here, get some height on the press, so because of the size of the arm that was going to hit the ground. So yep, outside now, and I'll set her up. Now you could use these two plates that come with the press, and press it out like that so that the bush goes in between the plates. But I prefer to use a whole circle around the part you're pressing out, just to distribute the weight more, and you'll never be able to distort it or anything. So yeah, just my preference. So I press, yeah, I just use that, etc. Okay, got all that in place. We'll see how we go. I think it's going. Maybe not. Give it a check. I'll get the hammer. Don't know if that moved or not. We'll give it another crack. No. This could also be a video saying how you can't do it with a cheap press from Repto. Okay, I gave it another clean up. Got in there, changed this around a wee bit, put the plate on top of the socket just to spread the weight even more so it wasn't cocking or anything like that. And I think I've just cracked it. So yeah, there we go. We're pressing out. Woohoo! Thank God. So it's been a cheap press that the RAM isn't the greatest, so yeah, it sort of bypasses a wee bit now and then. But no, we got there. All right, we'll get back in the garage out of the sun. Sweet. All right, next thing I do is to avoid any balls ups. Again, so it's out. And just so you can see, see that's the lip I was talking about, that the seal, the bearings coming up against. So that's why it only goes one way. That's like a 4mm lip. So if you pressed it the wrong way, you'd just smash that out because it's cast, obviously. So, all right. So that was the socket we used to press it out. We don't need that anymore. Now we need one to press it in. Just make sure that's in there. Yep. Okay. So double check. $52mm exactly. This, oh sweet, perfect. 52mm. exact one. Okay, so because we're going to press it in like this, we don't want this rubber dust cover to get damaged as it goes inside there. It feels like it. This one might be alright actually. What I'll do is put some rubber grease in there to start with. Yep, no, that's going to be sweet. Otherwise, yeah, you can. These are spiral clips, like this one here. That's off the old one. Yeah. You can pick those clips out, unwind them, pull the dust cover off, press it in, and then put the dust cover back on. But no, we're good here. There goes that grease. Alright, so next we're going to go back out to the press and press this baby in. Alright, let's go set up again in the sun. Okay, so we've got the arm centered on the bush on the spacer, so that it's spreading all the weight around the complete circumference of the boss. We've got the socket, the bush in there. It should straighten up nicely. Got the socket on top, got the plate on top of that. Alright, let's give it a crack. Beautiful. Okay, just give it another straighten up. Just take a little bit of weight off the jack. Another press. Now you're just keeping an eye on, you see that? Oh, sorry. Oh, whoops. Good old cameraman. Okay, you're just keeping an eye up here. I've still got like another 5mm there. You'll feel a change in the press as soon as it comes up against the collar at the bottom of the arm. And I think that's it. We'll release it and make sure, have a look on the inside, other side to. I think. Oh, I have to inspect that a bit better in the garage. Okay, just checked it. We've still got about another 4mm to go. Okay, that might be it. Yep. Pretty sure that's us. I'll go and double check it though. Oh, okay, that's what we're looking for. Where are we? That gap in there. And it looks like there's still maybe 1 mil. So we'll go back out. Okay, I didn't take the camera out that time, but yep, we're focus. Yeah, we're good in there. We're up against the collar, so that's us done. Awesome. So that socket did the trick. All right, well, like I say, I'll add this to the complete video of this bloody mission, but I'll also do it as a separate standalone part, I think, just so someone can just watch how to press something in and out if they've never done it before. Outstanding, sweet. All right, onto the shocks. Well, one shock. I'm just going to do one side of the car at a time, I think. So anyway, it's coming back to me now why I cut this captured nut off here. I must have tried the other side first, and that shock actually has a nut that's not captured. But anyway, this was the wrong. No way was that going on there. So I need to carefully cut this off and either weld it back on here or just use it as a nut. I'll probably just use it as a nut. Then I don't need to get the welder out. I've got some spring compressors, so I will try blasting that off with the rattle gun and then just loosen it. Then I'll use the spring compressors here to compress the hell out of that, or take some weight off it, and we'll try and get this apart. All right, I'll set you up. Okay, I've put the old spring compressors in both sides. God, I hate using these things. Hopefully there's not too much pressure on these, but yeah, there probably is. So I'm just going to take them down evenly. Yep, might have already taken the weight off. Go a little bit more. Sweet. Yeah, that feels like it's enough actually. Yep, shock's loose. Sweet. All right, well that's a bonus. All right. Let's see if the rattle gun gets it off. Can't believe how well today's going. That's awesome. All right. Sorry, just thinking. Yeah, there was a bump stop up there, good, because I didn't order one. Alright, awesome, that goes there. Oh, actually, I'll clean the spring up before putting this all back together. Let's make a better job of it. Sweet. Okay, not going to get carried away there. What am I doing? They're only going to get dirty. So, next we're going to cut this off here carefully. We don't want to destroy the mating edge to the shock. So, yeah, we'll try and skim it off. I might actually even cut straight through here first, and so I can, oh, hang on, we'll set the camera up and have a look. Yep, that's sort of like fusion welded or something into there, so I'm going to cut it straight through here and then peel away, grind at the other side till it comes free. Hang on. Repositioned it and put in gloves on and sorted out the guard on the thing. Okay. There's no going back now. Alright, thought I'd do it outside instead of sending iron filings all over the cars. Well, it's Chrysler. So I've just clamped it on there because I don't have a vise out here. Alright. Alright, we'll see how this goes. Might just fling out of that clamp, but we'll soon see. Yep, and we soon saw. Alright, let's try that again. Right, you get the idea. I'll pause you there. Don't have to watch me grind all that away. Right, so what I did there was just grind most of the metal out of there so that I could peel it back and not damage this face of the nut, because you know this is holding a shock absorber and you don't want that coming loose whilst you're cornering, etc. So yeah, that's what I'll do next. Peel that off there, and then we've got a nut that goes with the bolt, and we'll start assembling the shock. Right. This isn't my main voice, just in case anyone's taken good control of this. Okay. Where am I? So there you go. Just got to clean those 3 little dags off now, and we're good to go. You get the idea. Okay, just dress that off. That looks like there's something there, but it's not. That's all good. That's nice and flat. So we've got a nut now. Right, time to assemble. Okay. Bump stop on first. Slide that bugger in there. New 17mm. Oh, no. Settle down. Put that on first. Oh. Right, either the gun or the compressor's the shit itself, so we're going manual. So you've got the square cut on the end here. Hold that with a crescent. Do the nut up. So that's a new nylock nut, so no need for spring washers or anything here. And yeah, using a new one that came with the new shock. Done. Now let's loosen off the clamps. Hang on. Man, it takes about 48 times longer to do this work we're doing it, but that's cool. Hopefully this good weather stays, because I just bought a new fishing rod and line yesterday and I want to go and use it once I've done this. Okay, now we're on to the last bush to press in, or heim joint, to the left-hand upper control arm, outer. And like I said earlier in the video, I've ground this socket down to fit the actual bush to press it in with, but I don't want to ruin this rubber dust cover, and I can't get in there to grind the inside of the socket more. So I mean, I could just about I could put some rubber grease in here and try pressing it in slowly over that, but I prefer to take this dust cover off, so it's definitely not going to be damaged. So if you can see in here, this is a helical spring clip, so it goes around twice basically and meets up again the ends. It's harder to see on the top one, but that's exactly what it is. So what you want to do to get these off real carefully, because you don't want to split the rubber. Start and then just gently roll it around. So that was the first time around, and we're going around the second time. And there you go. And then do the same for the top. It's like rolling a piston ring onto a piston if you ever need to do that. Same sort of thing, but it's not obviously twice around. Okay, there you go. And then pop that off. Done. Now that can go straight over that. No worries damaging the rubber. Like I say, ground that down slightly. What is it? 1.25 inches. Yeah, don't use those very often, so it doesn't matter. I'd rather do this job than have 1.25 inch sockets sitting around that I can't use. All right, on to the pressing. But I just thought I'd show you how to, deal with those clips if you ever needed to. Cool. All right, pressing the heim joint into the upper control arm. We've got our socket here for the all-round bracing of the boss. We've got the heim joint. Got our other socket to use as a guide. Get them all lined up. Choice. It's all a bit finicky, getting everything right. But you've got to get it right, otherwise it presses it all cocked and what have you, and you don't want that. Okay, I'm just gonna oh golly. What I need to do is draw some crosses, centers for these, so I know exactly where centers are on the parts I'm using. Oh, of course this is happening because I'm filming. Okay, change of plan. Double that up. Alright. That. I usually like to use a plate on top of the socket so that it sort of spreads the load a bit better, but that ain't going to happen today. No, that's cocked. There we go. And that should be it. Yep, that's us. We got the heim joints back in, and now we're going to put the dust cover back on. Okay, so get your first end in there. Make sure it's in the right place, and then slowly roll that clip back in. Watch the end of the spring clip so it doesn't go through your finger. And also make sure it doesn't go through the rubber and split it. So protect it, yeah, like that. Same one for this. So you see that's like a spring sort of. Wind it around. Done. Awesome. Anyway, probably no one will ever need that, but that's how you do it if you needed to and you don't know. Right, I was just going to start putting the upper controller arm back in to this Falcon, AUII Falcon, and I thought I'd just show you what I was coming up against here. I don't know if this was a random thing at the factory where they've just put the fuel pipe bracket in the wrong place by 10 millimeters or something, or if it was an after thing where someone's had the whole arse of this Falcon out and they've riveted, not used a bolt, riveted this bracket in. I'll show you where it is, because when you've got to get that bolt out of there, stand by, hang on. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the bolt that goes through there, and it comes in from the front, and then the nuts on the inside here. Watch, look at this. If I can get up there. That bracket, which I've now cut with, I had to get a Dremel tool up through, here's a gap that, not even 3 fingers can fit in. Got a Dremel tool up through there, sliced through it, because if I can, hang on, if I can show you, I don't even know if I can. Sorry about that. No, I'm not going to be able. No, I don't even know where I'm looking now. Anyway, it's riveted on, and so I can't get in there. And I thought, oh well, I'll take the back seats out and drill the rivet out. No, can't do that, because, come on. Can't do that because this piece here is actually a blind, it's an extra piece to put in the bulkhead, so you can't actually see the back side of this to get at the other end of the rivet to cut it off. So, and then there's the subframe right up against it. So anyway, terrible. What a stupid place. If someone actually riveted that, I want to hunt you down, because that caused me fucking grief. All right, enough of that. I'll get this in. But yeah, just showing you, this thing's fought me the whole way. And you've just got to overcome and adapt. Adapt and overcome. Yeah. And that's why I took extra days off this weekend, just so I'm not rushed. So I didn't have to, have 3 days to get this done. I've had 5 days, so it's been a bit of a job. Anyway, onward. Right, this will be the last installment for the complete video of the job of doing all these bushes and suspension, shocks, brakes, etc. So, and this is doing the brakes. Just going to replace the pads in the caliper, and so I've just tied that caliper over there whilst I was doing the job, so it's out of the way and not hanging off the hose. Yep, good practice. And so next I'll fit the new pads to the caliper, then we'll fit the caliper to the vehicle. With a lot of vehicles with ABS, when you fit the new pads, you've got to push the piston in to make room for the new pads. A lot of vehicles, you need to break the bleed nipple, and so as it pushes the piston in, it comes out the bleed nipple. With AU, well, certainly, with this system, you just have to open up the brake master cylinder reservoir under the bonnet, take the seal off, so that when you push the piston in, the fluid travels back through into the reservoir. All right, I'll set this up and we'll get going. So tip of the day is, as you notice, your fluid getting lower, that's just telling you that the brakes are wearing. Now, if you fill that up as they're wearing, and then you go to push your pistons in when you go to do a brake job, it's just going to overflow out of here. So just keep don't fill it up as it gets low. Replace your pads, and it will come up to the correct level again. So I just leave it like that. That should be good. Okay, so there we go. They're not extremely worn, but whilst I'm doing all this, I'm just going to replace them, so I don't need to go back in and do it later. But the disc itself, the rotor, is perfect like that. It's got heaps of meat. The minimum for these back ones are 8.5mm, and that's probably more like 15. So you pop the old pads out. I use these big buggers. Just slowly just going to put you on pause. Okay, I went with a different plan. I've put a C-clamp in there with a socket inside the piston, and just slowly threading it in. You know, you're pushing fluid all the way through the system, so you got to do it slowly. This one, there you go. But yeah, just check your workshop manual. It'll tell you if you can do this or not. Like I say, some of them you have to break that nipple to just bleed the fluid out. Nice and slow. It should do it. Okay. These ones, the spring clip goes down onto there. Make sure they don't do what that did. It popped all the way through. Yep. There we go. Next one, same. There we go. Got a bit of cleaner. sit it over the... Now, is that right? Or... God, that hose just doesn't sit right or nicely, but that's obviously how it goes. Okay, and that's it. I suppose I'll, yeah, 215 mils at the back. Never tighten the first one up full until you got the second one in, because you're just asking for trouble trying to find the hole. Sweet. Go this side of that brake pipe, because if you slip, you're not going to smash the pipe off the caliper. There'll be a torque for them. I'll check that next. I've got to torque every bolt that I've touched. So that's us. All done. Brakes, shocks, upper and lower control arm, heim joints, and that's about it. Cool. Cheers for watching.